All right, let's get it going. A little live. Do it live. Let me know how I sound. Make sure this thing is locked in, ready to go. It is almost that time. We get back to some live stream, regular scheduled broadcasts. Probably Monday at some point, maybe some other time. I kind of like Tuesday midday. Let's go. Brad, my man, yo, what's going on? Some friendly faces. Alejo, what's the word? Shane, good to see y'all. Capella. Appreciate y'all hanging out. Now is the time, perfect time. Get the questions in, locked in. High school season over for most. Into that kind of like all-star season. If you got those types of games, got some banquets, into hoops, into some off-season training, some bowl games, college-wise, draft, my favorite season, draft analysis season, and some playoff football right around the corner. December football, probably my favorite type of ball. So fired up. Let's see what we got going. Capella, how many plays does a high school offense and defense typically have? I have no idea. I think it varies per high school, obviously. Newsflash. Great answer, coach. I would say this year, just as an example, of our offense in high school, we probably carried about 100 specific types of plays. Now, that's going to sound like a lot because that's not really accurate. Only a handful of different types of runs, but a bunch of different ways to do it, different personnel groups. Same thing for different ways to do the same passes, different formations, shifts, motions. As far as the core concepts, probably somewhere in the 15 to 20 range, I would say. Hey, Alejo, Spencer Rattler to the SEC. My goodness. Where's he going? South Carolina? Whew. Gotta be careful what you ask for. Same thing with Oklahoma and Texas. It's not for the faint of heart. Brad, ba-boom. Coming in hot. I still haven't like re-upped my GIF game. GIF game? Hard G. Do we ever get a consensus with that? I appreciate the support. What are your thoughts on college draft QBs this year? Brad, you are putting it on a tee for me. I am fired up for that season. I am in the process of collecting as much college football, all 22, as possible, specifically for the draftable guys. I personally am probably most excited to take a deep dive on the Liberty dude, Willis. The other guys, I don't know. I know people, I don't want to let other stories that I've heard about this quote unquote draft class kind of sink into my take on it until I get a chance to watch the film. I haven't done really a good enough job to have a strong opinion about it. And so I'm kind of excited to go through the process with everybody here. If there are specific players that you think are going to get drafted or deserve a look on the channel, please let me know. But don't just drop like a random name. I need the name and I need the film. So if you have access to the All-22 and there's someone that you want to see, I almost certainly will do it if they are eligible to get drafted this year and have a realistic shot to get drafted. Coach Grays, appreciate it. You too, my man. Great seasons. Man, it's a long year. I'm not sure about everybody else high school football wise, but high school football season out here in California was long AF this year. Playing a spring football season and a fall football season and playing a lot of games, which is a good problem to have, but it's a lot of ball for a calendar year. A lot of ball. Boom. Heyo. Jordan K. Is Sam Howell a first rounder? I don't know. That's a weird thing for me to answer because it really doesn't matter if you have a first round grade on someone, quote unquote. That's not really what I do anyway. But is there enough need also in that kind of idea? But the little that I watched of Sam Howell this year, I liked a lot of what I saw. I'm not sure he's going to be able to do the same type of game that I saw him. Like I saw him like trying to truck fools, like run through people. Like, I mean, even the best of the best running quarterbacks or the guys who have the capacity to do that, you don't see a whole lot of people dropping shoulders on people on Sundays. So I don't know. I want to see some more. Oh man, Griffin. All I saw was dragon. You got me. If you're using the dragon concept, what are the appropriate splits for the wide receivers to line up in? Why that lineup? That's an interesting question. That kind of layers into a few different buckets of answers for me. So to me, the dragging concept, for people who don't know, is just a slant and a flat by the inside, flat by the inside player, slant by the outside player. To me, they're just normal splits, or maybe push them a tick wider than your normal splits. Every offense is going to have different rules for splits. As an example, the offense that we run at the high school that I coach at, we use probably wider splits than normal. So if you're into the boundary, meaning the ball's on the near hash to you, we're going to split the difference between the outside edge of the numbers and the sideline. If the ball's, that's the same split all the way to the middle of the field. And then if the ball is away from you, so on the far side of the field, the far hash, or the away from the middle of the field, you come to the, I think we changed it this year to the inside edge of the numbers. And that's kind of the learning landmarks. Once you learn those and can do those every single day in practice, I usually give a lot more flexibility to the guys who are playing to kind of be able to use their splits to gain advantages as far as what the game provides. So a little bit more fluid as far as that. But I just prefer wide splits to make the defense have to cover a little bit more width of the field. Schoenberg 96. Who knows what type of currency that is, but I appreciate it. Why do people always talk about the defense getting tired on long drives and not the offense? Schoenberg, have you played defense before? Let's see if I can put this like the cleanest way possible. I think you exert significant more energy on defense because you have to be on high alert all the time. You don't know if it's a run to the other side, and you can maybe not exert full max energy all the time. You also have to usually, if you're playing defense at a high level, you're chasing the ball no matter where it is. So even if it's a run to the opposite side and you're playing corner on the far side, you need to go show up in the screen and you need to run at 100%, where if you're playing wide receiver, you might not be doing that. You might be taking a play off. You might know that the play's going to go over there and you can just kind of catch your breath, as an example. It's just a different level of energy exerted because you have to react to everything at full speed, as opposed to knowing where the ball is going to go and having a little bit more kind of capacity to conserve some energy and know that I don't have to go all out because it's going away from me, or I'm not getting the ball on this play, so I know I can do this. So it's just a different type of energy exertion, in my opinion. So it makes it a little bit harder. And on long drives, everybody gets tired. The other thing about long drives on defense is, depending on what level you're at, if the offense is going fast, you don't have an opportunity to, sub out. Where offensively, sometimes at lower levels of high school, so high school, for instance, they don't stand over the ball out in California. So you can substitute and go really fast, and the defense can't substitute, because if they try to substitute and they're kind of backed up or in their red area, they got to run all the way to the team box. There's really hard to do that because the offense has the angle and the offense knows when they're going to substitute. The offense can be on the near hash, those types of things that just make it a lot harder on a defense, in my opinion. Michael, you're a funny guy. Euros, there you go. Appreciate it, Schoenberg. Unless it's Bitcoin, man. I don't know anything about it. What we got here? Jimmy Dean. There you go. See, Jimmy Dean's got a good answer. That's probably a cleaner way to put it. Defense is reactionary and offense dictates. I think you can make the argument that the defense can dictate too, depending on how good of a defense you play. But I got you. Jordan K, do you think Mahomes will ever go back to his old form? What's happening with the Chiefs' offense? Isn't he kind of going back to his old form right now? I think it's a good example of how the league has the capacity to try to catch up to everybody. And so whatever they were doing as far as big plays down the field, his creativity, those types of things, to say, hey, all right, Patrick, let's see if you can be really patient and carve us up the entire way and make you kind of not get those huge plays over the top, not get those big, massive chunk plays. And just takes a little bit of, obviously compounded by turning the ball over, but the precision to be able to, and the discipline to be able to take what they give you all the time and be okay with it is a different mindset. And so I just think he's going to continue to evolve, and I feel like they've kind of come out of that recently, haven't they? I don't know. Got a lot of film questions in here. The film questions come with answers that aren't great. So whether it's NFL All 22, college All 22, even high school All 22, oftentimes it's going to be difficult to get. It's going to be choppy. It's going to lag. It does when I do it as well. There's no easy answer. There is no great site. There is no magic kind of code that you get to know. It's a combination of different sites, different people, different sources, and put them together to try to get what I think is the most fun stuff to watch, most interesting stuff to watch. There isn't a secret sauce or secret way to be able to do it. I honestly answer questions about it usually every day from someone, whether it's email, Twitter, YouTube. I try to be as forthcoming as possible, but there is just no great answer. I wish there was a site where we could everybody could just go get high quality, easy download, but that's just not reality. So appreciate it. Oh, Zachary Davis, best way to beat Palms coverage. I know an outstanding course that goes into significant depth about that. Andy Bocanegra, hopefully I said that right. Why is Nagy's offense so broken? I probably, and this is going to be a little revealing, I guess, I don't really watch that much like in-season real-time football. So when you say it's broken, I don't know what that means. Like, we just think that, does he even call in the plays anymore? I feel like, I feel like he gave that up a while ago. There's so many, different stories about why something is or isn't working. Justin Fields been banged up, I don't know. I don't have a good answer for you, bro. Straight up. Mateus. Sorry. Damn, I killed that, bro. Sorry. Do you think the 49ers should stick with Garoppolo or start Trey Lance? I've said from the beginning that I think Trey Lance should be playing. I don't think you give up that sort of capital to move up to take someone and not to play them. I don't understand it. I don't pretend to understand it, but those guys obviously get paid a lot of money to make those types of decisions, and I'm on YouTube, so take that for what it's worth. And I feel like Jimmy Garoppolo has been playing pretty well here recently, and when he's healthy, he's been playing pretty well forever. But again, I didn't make the draft choices either. Nick, you're welcome, my man. Oh, here we go. Problem child, aka the truth. When you slide protection to the weak side, who's the Mike linebacker? So, we're getting into the weeds here. I know a great course that talks about pass protection if you really want to know. But let me give you the easiest way. When you slide protection to the weak side, who's the Mike linebacker? So that means different things in different systems. When you say you're sliding to the weak side, to me, that means you're sliding to the quote-unquote weak linebacker. If I think of them as, let's just, for simplicity's sake, think that they're in an even front, so there are 3 linebacker types. So the middle of those 3 linebacker types is the Mike. Doesn't matter if you slide weak or slide strong or however you want. Some teams think the passing strength is the strength. Some teams identify the tight end as the strength. It doesn't matter. 3 linebackers. You are not sliding to the middle of those 3. Okay? If you were sliding to the middle, technically that wouldn't be a slide in most offenses, but we're saying you're sliding to one of the outside linebacker types. That's how you identify you're sliding to the Will or you're sliding to the Sam. The middle of those 3 is the Mike. So when you see teams make Mike declarations, so if we're going to slide to the weak side and our strength is over here, we're going to come up, identify the Mike, the middle of the 3 linebacker types. That means the line is going to the next linebacker type away from the Mike. That's the easiest way that I can think of it. Hopefully that makes sense. Sometimes, and this is how most teams will do it, not most teams, the easiest way to do it, I think, for the offensive line and quarterbacks and running backs is to not necessarily identify the mic. The reason you identify the mic is so that the defense doesn't know what the hell you're doing. I think at lower levels of football, and even at the highest level of football, you can come out and say, we're sliding, whatever, rip 55, Liz 42 or Liz 6 nowadays, and just make the call and point to the guy you're sliding to. I don't think it really matters. I really don't. I think maybe at the highest levels, they can get into some point things where, especially when they double mug or walk guys into the A and the B gap, where they'll go away from the points. But at most lower levels, nobody cares. Nobody's got the time or even probably the capacity to get into the weeds with that type of stuff. So I think you just point to who you're sliding to or who you're going to would be the easiest way to do it. Hopefully I answered the question. To be honest, I don't even remember. Oh, here it is. When you slide protection to the weak side, who's the Mike linebacker? The Mike linebacker doesn't change. The Mike linebacker is the middle of the three, is the easiest way to answer that. Boom. Griffin Harbolt. Does your offense use pure progression reads like West Coast system style? Griffin. That is a perfect question for the next course available. The next course available, we're working on a name, but it will be the entire offense. I'm going to make an entire offense available. I'm very, very excited to share the communication system, the structure, how we teach it, how we install it, how we practice it, how we execute it. We have a number of different types of reads. I don't get into the weeds as far as like, this is pure progression, this is progression with an option, this is pick a side. Most of them are what many people would probably classify as pure progression, meaning just 1, 2, 3, put it on them. But there are also a lot of coverage indicators. So if it's 0, if it's quarters, if it's this receiver, if it's this matchup. And so there can be specialty things so that it's never quite as clean as saying, are they all this? No, they're definitely not all one thing. They are a combination of a system, a collection of plays within a system. And those collections of plays can be bespoke for the game plan for this week. And so that's kind of the full gist. Hopefully that makes sense. Does an O-line make or break a QB? Anthony Waite. I don't think it makes a quarterback. It can definitely break a quarterback. I think it's certainly a critical variable, and if you don't have one, it makes life significantly tougher. But just because you have a great O-line, does that make every quarterback who plays behind a great O-line great? Probably not. Problem child, you are welcome. Ooh, Samness. This is an excellent question. Area Dean. Who's the Mike when there's not 3 linebackers on the field? Say nickel or 3-4. So, 2-part answer to that question. If there are not 3 linebackers on the field, remember, I usually say 3 linebacker types. So linebacker level, that second level of defense. It can be a nickel with 1 extra DB. It can be dime. It can be quarter, where there are 2 or 3 DBs in there as linebackers. So linebacker positions is the first answer. If there are 3 of them at that second level with an even front, it's usually the middle of the 3. If it's a 3-4, it gets a little bit more into the weeds now. It is usually identified as the inside linebacker to the strong side as the Mike linebacker. So the reads, the progressions, the way that you block things often change in an odd front, especially in the higher levels of football. And so if there are 4 linebackers in a true Okie or odd, it is usually the Sam, the Mike. That next one, linebacker, the name changes all the time. Most often, to me, it's referred to as the plug. I'm sure there are a bunch of different ways to talk about it. And then some people refer to that one as the will. It doesn't matter. It's Sam, usually the Mike. We'll go plug, and then the outside one on the weak side is the will. And it just changes the kind of blocking responsibilities for many pass protections, many run game things. but that's kind of the easy way to best understand it. Kevin Anderson, yo, can we get another Stafford video? Probably. Yep. I didn't watch the game last night, but I heard it was good. Jordan, I appreciate it. Smash that like if you haven't already. Again, I forgot. I feel a little underprepared when I don't have my kind of graphic drop-ons. Thomas, greetings from Austria. Throw another shrimp on the bobby. I had to. Sorry, bro. Been watching a lot of Jim Carrey recently. My kids got into The Grinch. Love your content. I appreciate it, dude. Thank you so much for checking in and let me know where you're watching from. Simon, if a receiver like Ocho Cinco tells you in the huddle to throw to him, but the coverage dictates not to do so, would you still throw to him to keep him happy? It depends. I mean, maybe if it's like 7-on-7 in minicamp. If it's during a game, no, hell no, bro. No. Samness, you are welcome. Jordan, keep coming up with this question, bro. Keep asking. No. Let's see. What's the first thing a quarterback looks for when he walks up to the line of scrimmage? It depends, man. I would pull back that question a little bit and say, walks up to the line of scrimmage probably eliminates many of the offenses that even operate nowadays. Many offenses that operate from the no huddle gun. You're always looking. You're never walking up to the line of scrimmage. But let's just assume that we are, in 1997 and breaking a huddle and turning our back to the defense, which I'm not sure why you would do that, but if you do, you turn around. What are you looking at? I think most quarterbacks would tell you that they first look at the shell or the safeties. From there, maybe get an idea if you have the capacity or you need to know what's going on with the front. From there, I would take a peek at the corners just to see, is it press, man, is it off? Then do you get any pressure indicators? Do you think you're going to be hot? Is there run game issues with any sort of pressure? And then I always like to be trying to look at the safeties at the snap just to confirm whatever that pre-snap idea was post-snap. Boom. Zachary Davis. JT, favorite formation and why? Woo! I love it. This hits in a sweet spot for me. It changes pretty often. For the longest time, it was kind of like 2 personnel, a wing to one side, so 2 tight ends to one side, 1 inline, 1 in like an offset wing position, and then 3 wide receivers. I love that formation if you've got a quarterback who can run, just because it puts significant stress on a defense. I also love 13 personnel, or really 3 personnel bunch to one side with the 3 tight ends and 2 wide receivers. Or I also really like bunch to one side and wide receivers split. Now you usually lose the capacity for that eligible point guy in the bunch, but I just think anytime you're messing, I always think of plays and play design by thinking about the flank of the formation. So is it open, meaning no tight end? Is it a single wide receiver, 2 wide receivers, a single tight end, inline tight end, a sniffer, fullback, a wing, a bunch, an unbalanced look? And so for me, I love putting defenses in kind of conflict before they even have to defend the snap, just based on how do they align to a formation. I love unbalanced. Well, many people call them unbalanced. I think of them as like 0-by-4, 0-by-5 formation. So there's no eligible on one side, and there are all the eligibles are on the other side. One of them might be covered up, 2 of them might be covered up. Those types of things. That's an excellent question. Let me know, what is your favorite formation, Zachary? Hit me with it. What else we got here? Handful more. Then we're gonna check out. What defense did you find the hardest to play against? Figure out why. Thomas, excellent question. When I was playing, for the longest time, I disliked playing against an odd front. And really the only reason why is because it just felt like there were more dudes out there. It felt like I was playing in the CFL because there's another guy standing up. And it just, the spacing of it was weird. I never played for a team. I'm trying to think when I first did. It wasn't until like halfway, maybe the Patriots, where I played against a team that ran the odd in their day-to-day, like as their base defense, so we kind of get used to the spacing of it. So when I would play against it in college, I remember thinking like, Jesus, there's a lot of guys out there. And it's just because another person was standing up. So windows that I was used to throwing in looked closed or looked more condensed at the snap. And you get a little bit used to it on third down in the league. But even then, third down in the league, there are more exotic stuff as opposed to that base stuff where you see the big guys out there and condensed formations. It just felt harder. So that was definitely the first one. And then probably when I was playing the most, I really disliked, from a distance, I really disliked a lot of the bracket stuff, the tight man coverage, kind of man match stuff, because it felt like everything was just tighter. There is no true zone. You can't manipulate defenders quite as much with your eyes. It felt like every throw was hard, and I thought it was harder because you had to know kind of the defensive adjustments based on the formation, and the coverages would change, the leverages would change, and so just understanding those, for a long time I used to call combo coverages. So it could be like a bracket on one side, a two-man on the other side, a quarters, a half, and understanding that how the formation dictates the coverage and all those things, and then couple that. And then finally, the last one, the one that I probably disliked the most pressure-wise, was just two-trap, what I'm used to calling two-trap, or any type of zone pressure, whether it's linebackers or safeties, with a rolled-up corner to that side. Just because I thought you can always kind of, if you get in the habit of just throwing hot and throwing a flat, or knowing that you got this kind of no cover zone in a lot of zone coverages, well, when you do that and you throw your guy into a cloud corner or a rolled up corner, it's bad news. And so just being able to, in your mind, know, hey, what type of pressure is this? What type of zone pressure is this? Do I have a flat? Can I just check it to the back if he's in a free release? Or do I need to have some sort of vertical hot where the tight end is peeking, or the wide receiver is glancing on a slant or a dart or something vertical up the field? And just being able to know the difference in that when you've never seen it before quite as much as you see it in practice in the NFL. Boom. $46 Bear. What is a quarterback looking for against that formation? John, we are looking at max protection and throwing the ball down the field, or throwing a perimeter screen, or running the option. Joseph Batag, smartest football mind you were in the room with, both player and coach. I would probably say head coach, Bill Belichick. Offensive coordinator, Mike Martz. Player, there was a lot of smart guys. I think it kind of ebbs and flows in where I was in my career. So early in my career, being a rookie with Jake Delhomme, I thought he was a pro's pro, did a great job preparation, understanding the system. Later in my career, being around Brad Johnson, a guy who had won a lot and a great understanding of timing, anticipation. Enjoyed being around Phillip. This is not a news flash, but most of the guys that play at a high level, the quarterback position, are pretty bright dudes. Let's do a couple more here. Jesus, can an athletic running back weigh a little less in the NFL if the offensive line guards are really good at run blocking and creating holes? Yes. Mr. Demine, 45. Sorry, bro. Demine. Can you teach anticipatory throws? If so, how? Yes. takes significant work. We spend, anecdotally, a significant amount of time working on our anticipation throws. For this past year, quarterback was pretty good at throwing comebacks, and so we would work a lot. I mean, we just drilled the hell out of it. I stand behind him. I also give kind of, it's easy for me, not easy, probably easier for me to show by example too. So we'll describe it. I'll stand behind him. I'll tell him when to let it go. I'll give him examples of me doing it. Half the thing about throwing anticipatory throws is not so much, hey, it's 3 steps, let it go. It's also the touch and trajectory of the ball. So a lot of guys think, oh man, you really got to rip a comeback. Well, in reality, a comeback throw to me is a little bit more of a pseudo touch medium trajectory ball, as opposed to a, he's wide ass open, we're going to throw a laser down the field. Now there are times when that's the throw, but on air, repping it in practice, getting 3 from shotgun, a tight hitch or reset, and letting it go on time, and demanding the wide receivers be at the correct depth, running at full speed, getting great work, knowing what they're doing at the top of their routes, the trust that goes involved in that. And then, you know, early in camp, you might be working it with 10 guys. Well, in reality, during the game, there might be 2 or 3 guys that get comebacks thrown to them. And so fine-tuning that thing, funneling that thing down, so the guys who are actually going to get the work in the game, get the work, the meaningful reps in practice, and drill it and hold those guys accountable to it, and promote it when you do it well, and showcase what a great kind of threat it is. And it is just, that's one example of the comeback. You can do it on any throw. You know, personally, when I was playing, I love to throw the deep in with some anticipation. It's easier than a comeback, is the first thing, shorter. Also thought it was just, there were more options. If it wasn't there, there's usually something in front of you that you get a check down, get a completion, and it just, I enjoyed it kind of anecdotally. So a lot of different ways to be able to do it. Shane Cram, thoughts on Lincoln Riley to USC? Yeah, I think I got the same thoughts as everybody on the West Coast. Let's get this thing rolling, bro. It helps everything out here on the West Coast. Obviously, the national brand, the national attention, the recruiting, the excitement about college football. I'm excited to see it, see if it can work. I don't think there's any reason to think that it can't work. So fired up. Capella, how can you tell if coverage is disguised or rotated? You can't. If it's done well, you just have to confirm it post-snap. So you have to have an idea. It's all about pattern recognition. Again, I know a great course that talks significant depth about this. Pattern recognition. So have an idea of what the shell looks like pre-snap, at the snap. And this is one of the reasons I prefer to be under center when I was playing, is to get that confirmation of the shell. And that goes with the other information as far as pre-snap, man zone pressure, and post-snap. What are they doing? They can't hide it post-snap. So once you confirm it post-snap, you got to have the capacity to make the quick decision, be accurate, do all those types of things. But pre-snap is just about gathering information. Google account, that's a loaded one. All right, let's do one more here. See if I can see a good, strong question. My man Anthony coming in hot. Hey JT, love your content. I was wondering if you could share your insight on the Miami Dolphins offensive line when you watched, and what's Tua's ceiling could be if they fixed it. Anthony, sorry bro, I do not watch a whole lot of offensive line play. I would say the little I've seen, they probably don't run it quite as well as I would hope NFL offensive line would run it and move people at the line of scrimmage. I've always been high on Tua. I don't know why people come at me sideways sometimes for being a Tua hater or something like that. I think he still has a high ceiling. I'm excited to see what he can do. And yeah, hell yeah, they should build around him. Boom. All right. Thanks for hanging. I will see you next time. We'll try to do these things a little bit more often. I appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.